Hey guys, what is up? Dr. Dave here with Beyond Mobility, this virtual chiropractic practice. And here we are on Friday, book ending our conversation from Monday. And we've been talking about a lot in the office. A lot of you have been talking about, the neck. We've been talking about the cervical spine. And many of you have come to Quartz Chiropractic. Many of you in Beyond Mobility are dealing with tension in your neck, and whether it be headache or upper cervical issues that lead to headache and anxiety and sleep issues and lack of clarity, as well as the lower neck issues that lead to numbness and tingling in the hands, tension in the traps and the shoulders, and all the stiffness. And it's no wonder we have these issues. And we're sitting at a computer all day. You may be sitting right now or looking at your phone watching this video. And the reality is, we never end up, in extension. We never end up there, which is a normal range of motion, right? We're very rarely in neutral. Oftentimes we're looking down. And as time goes on, our body compensates. So we've been talking a lot about this over the last few weeks, how mechanics affect your health, right? And that's kind of the interesting conversation with chiropractic, because all of us understand mechanics, and meaning like the positions and how we use the body and muscle tension and irritation, inflammation, and all the tension that ends up there and it hurts. That's the motion and mechanics of things, right? But also realizing that 3.0 version we talked about last week, how it affects your health. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to go over a couple things that I hope clarifies this for us today. And we're going to be talking about the nervous system first. So look at the spine here. And as we go through this, here's the aligned spine. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. We talked about the importance of the brain. And here we are. And the brain contains higher functions within the body, such as consciousness, mood, behavior, knowledge, judgment, calculation, language, speech, memory, emotion, and voluntary movement. So that brain, which is those first two layers, the frontal lobe and the midbrain, that's combined there in that description. That's what's happening there. And the next level, we talked about it, really talked a lot more about it last week with that 3.0 version, that hypothalamus, or we call the brain stem, and that covers the communication link. It controls and coordinates all the information from the brain in and out of the spinal cord. Literally every cell, tissue, organ system in the body is controlled and coordinated by the brainstem. It's the regulator. Anything that goes up or down, blood pressure, respiration, heart rate, temperature, pH, hormones, all of these regulation, right? Because it's usually either too much or too little affects the organ system, and that's what burns us down or creates sickness. So we want that balance to occur in our body, or try to find that balance. We've been talking about that the last few weeks. And then, of course, the last level of this nervous system is the spinal cord, which is much like a bundle of phone cables going back and forth, telling the body what to do. And the spinal cord is literally, we are not connected by Wi-Fi. So we're connected through hardwiring nervous system, our brain communicating to every cell, tissue, and organ in our body, coming out through the skull, through the neck. That's what we're talking about today. So let's hop on over to the next picture. Here we are. All right, let's see, we'll click out of that one maybe. And here we go, health and sickness. So here we are again at the neck, and here we look at the back of the neck, and here's that brain. Maybe I'll make it a little bigger for you, right? So let's look at that brain and that balance, how important the brain is, and those signals come out. And when there's imbalance, right, or pressure, so you have the arrow on this side is nice and big on both sides, and you're getting good flow on one side, you're getting subluxated right there, right at that area where it leaves. That's the lower brain stem. That affects your blood pressure, immune system, allergies. All of those things happen right there at the neck when there's misalignment. And we know that for sure. When brain health and healing messages can flow through all parts of the body, you experience good health. We call that ease. That's the nervous system easily functioning and flow back and forth of information from our brain out to every cell, tissue, and organ in our body. That's where health comes from. We have ease. But when we have misalignment, we have less than ease. We call it dis-ease. There's lack of ease or dis-ease, right? Not disease. So what happens when we get subluxated or there's misalignment in the body, healing messages cannot flow through all parts of the body. And due to interference at this point, where the neck and the head join, we may expect health problems. That's where we get those health problems. So very, very, very important part of the nervous system. The neck is very important. That upper cervical spine, really guiding and regulating all of the other systems of our body. Very, very important. So as we click out of that, let's look at some of the things that could occur. So as I make this a little bit bigger, this chart's pretty cool, right? here we go, C1, and what happens here at C1, of course, blood supply and your head pituitary gland, scalp, and C2, optic nerves and mastoid bones, your tongue, for taste, and cheeks, facial bones, teeth, nose and lips at C4, vocal cords at C5. We also know the thyroid is affected by C5, neck muscles, shoulders, tonsils, right? So what happens, right? What happens is when you have subluxations in these areas of your spine, headaches, nervousness, insomnia, head colds, high blood pressure, migraines, headaches, nervous breakdowns and stress, right? Amnesia, chronic tiredness, dizziness, sinus troubles, allergies, eyes. Am I speaking to anyone out there, right? This is so important to make sure our neck is functioning properly. So if you have neck pain, right, we know there's pressure on your nerves. So not only do you have pain, which is probably masking other things, but if you're also experiencing other aspects of your health, realizing it's both the same thing. You start to correct your neck, this stuff starts to go away. Neuralgia, acne, pimples, hay fever, hearing loss, adenoids, laryngitis, all the nerves that come out to the sinuses and the immune system, stiff neck pain, upper arms, tonsillitis, whooping cough group, bursitis, colds, you name it. It ain't a good thing. You know what? So the reality is this: let's get rid of the list. Let's fix your neck, right? And that's our conversation this week at the office. Let's fix your neck. So what's it supposed to look like, right? So you've all seen this in the office. If you're one of my patients, this is a chart that's pretty much in a couple rooms of the house, and it shows you what normal's supposed to look like, right? So, or I should say the office, right? The house. I feel like I live there. So here we are, textbook normal. You should have a nice curve towards the front. I'm going to point a couple things out here, right? When we look at your x-rays, and if you haven't had x-rays lately, if you're dealing with cervical and neck issues currently, you have to do the protocol we've been doing since November. You have to, but we have to do a quick, and I'll show you, three-way motion x-ray. We need to really identify what the issue is, and then I give you things to do at home. The neck wedge, right? We have that. It's in this page, right? We have the neck. I have one right here. Never more than 4 feet away from me, right? Just kidding. It just happened to be there, right? Right. Using the foam roller to get all of the tension out of your thoracic spine, right? And we also know about the video and the neck trigger point device. So you have to use this stuff. The wedge is going to be key. We're going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute. So textbook normal is this nice curve towards the front. As we lose our curve, right, you'll see here in phase 2, loss of curve, right? I think it's interesting that the weight of your head, right, you would expect as you look at this picture that it would be over these blocky bones, right? That looks like to be pretty solid things to support. Well, the reality is the joint back here where my arrow is, right back here, these are the facet joint, that's where the pressure is supposed to be. And when you straighten out your neck as we do, right, that pressure goes towards the front of those bones, towards these bones, and now you start to see why when the weight goes on those blocky bones, you'll start seeing loss of disc space, narrowing of the disc spaces, right? And you start to get muscle tension and burning. The body starts to see that when it comes out of its stable position into an unstable situation, now the body tries to stabilize it. And the first thing it does is contract muscle. That's why you have neck muscle and stiffness when you turn your head and tension in your neck. The muscles are trying to stabilize what it sees as an unstable situation because it's supposed to be here, okay? And as time goes on, as we go to phase 2, if it stays there long enough, you start to see the bones start to change, right? Roughening of the joint surfaces. You've got bone spurs starting to grow here, and the shape of the bone starts to change. Obviously, more reduced mobility, as now the parts are now not even the same shape as they once were. And as time goes on, what the body's really trying to do in an attempt to stabilize itself, the body always knows what it's doing. Honor the body's attempting, constantly trying to heal and regulate, right? So what the body's trying to do is stabilize an unstable situation, which quite honestly, if we would have gotten it back from phase 1 back to normal, it wouldn't be here, right? So now it's going down out of phase 2. Now you have some chronic bony change. And as time goes on and you get to phase 3, if it's not corrected, now you're seeing massive mold. You got severe bone remodeling. And what's happening here in phase 4, forget it. It's like we don't have a chart of it. It's complete fusion. The body sees instability and it tries to stabilize itself, but ultimately turning it into a concrete statue. You understand what I'm saying? So as there's instability, it's muscles, then it's calcium buildup, then eventually there's enough fusion that that's stable. The body saw instability and created stability, right? And that's not the stability you want. That's the body trying to do its best job because you never took care of it and you neglected it. So what we want to do is correct this so we drive it back towards normal. And we need to correct it. And I'll tell you something, and a lot of chiropractors might might be mad that I would say this, but in my experience, just adjusting the bones doesn't correct the curve. It just doesn't. It's never going to go back to where it's supposed to go. As a matter of fact, it'll feel great when you get the pressure and every time you get adjusted, but it's not going to, you're not going to go back a year from now and see the curve back. And we have to do something different. And that's where we bring this protocol and why it's so important. So if you're having neck issues and we haven't done a 3-way test and I haven't put you on this protocol yet, just tell Crystal, or tell me, make sure that you get this x-ray done, because it's important. Because what we get to see here on this x-ray is here's this neutral film and here's it straight up and down. And we've had these x-rays before, but then when this person goes into flexion and then extension, and then we mark up the films together. So after we do this test, I will be able to show you exactly where you're moving and where you're not moving, okay? And then what's very, very important, in order to get a curve back in your neck, we have to do traction. And this has to be put at a very specific location in your neck, and that's why the x-rays have to be taken. So I really want you to get much better results, especially if you're having issues in your neck. We can correct it, but we have to do it together. I could adjust you at the office, right? Get adjusted twice a week, perfect rhythm, right? Get those bones moving. No drug can move those bones. So once we get the bones moving right, then we put you on the traction wedge to remold, right? To correct the curve in your spine. How do I know it's going to work? Well, it already worked because your loss of curve is due to traction. You took your 10 to 15 pound head and you hung it down and texted for so long and did whatever, and now you lost the curve. So all we do is take that same 10 to 12, 15 pounds, right, and then lay it over this wedge after you get your regular adjustments, right, every night for 5 minutes, and watch us get the curve back. And after we do a 90-day protocol, you get your adjustments. You're already getting adjusted anyway. You apply the protocol to the specific areas that we locate, and then after 90 days, you do the post x-rays, and your neck is corrected. But not only is your curve corrected, but now you're seeing all those symptoms go away. Obviously, you're feeling better. And it also gives you things to do in between your adjustments. That's what Beyond Mobility is. You get your chiropractic adjustments, right? Get those vertebrae, remove those subluxations, restore normal motion, and then what you do at night supports everything else. And the more you do it and the more you get into rhythm and a routine of managing your mobility in the evening time, the better your adjustments go, the more correction occurs, and you start to restore the health in your life. Not only the physical, functional, mechanical health, but you start to see those allergies clear up, and those headaches go away, and you get more clarity and better night's sleep. So it's all about correction, and we want to correct things. We just want to fix them, right, temporarily. We don't want to patch it. We want to see correction occur. We want to see structural correction happen to your spine because it protects the nervous system that runs your health, that 3.0 version running every cell, every tissue, and every organ in your body. So I hope this week we focused a little more on the neck and the importance of getting your chiropractic adjustments, and also why it's so important to manage and correct what's happening there, and then giving you things to do where you have control and you start to make that correction happen. We do it together. I do my part at the office, you do your part at home, and we get there together. So guys, I hope you're enjoying these videos. Comment below. Let me know if this is informational. If you like what I'm saying, give me more information, what you want to know about next week and the weeks to come. Love and appreciate being able to reach out to you on a Friday afternoon, and hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll see you around the office next week. Oh, by the way, you are watching this live next week, I'm in the office on Tuesday. On Thursday, Dr. Merrill's going to cover one more time. I booked a trip when I used to have Thursdays off. I won't do that again, but we're going to go away for the Easter time with the family. So, hey, love and appreciate you guys. See you Tuesday for your adjustments. Hopefully you'll come see Dr. Merrill on Thursday, and we'll be back in action afterwards. But I'll be dropping videos along the way next week, keep you in the loop. So hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you around the office.